what are you going to do when your job goes away? At some point, everybody in this room, everybody listens to this, at some point has to deal with this issue, which is you're either going to have to stop working because you get too old and you retire, or something's going to happen to you, you're going to get injured, or, whatever it is, knock on wood, and you're going to have to stop. So if that happens, then what's your backup plan, right? The job's not going to save you, right?
Hey, look, let's go back to our guest, because
Good
no
segue.
one else is jumping in. James, so you were studying at UNSW, and then tell us what was the next step from there?
Okay, so I actually made a decision in third year to drop out of uni, because it actually took me a while. I didn't tell my parents, which is kind of strange to them. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, actually.
How long did you keep that?
About a month before they realized I was at home too much.
So you didn't leave home?
No, I was at home. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was doing the door-to-door thing on the side, and then the reason why I came to that decision was like I had a 4-year degree, so I had about 2 years left, and it was just a practical decision. It was like, hey, well, the reason why we're at uni is to get a degree, and the reason why you get a degree is to get a job, right? The reason why you want to get a degree is to get a good paying job, as opposed to if you didn't have one, right? That was kind of the mindset that was there.
Okay.
But if we play it out, like if you get a degree, you probably have to intern for about a year to actually get something decent.
Yeah.
And then after
if you can get jobs.
That's if you can get one,
at
right?
least statistically mentioned, 1 in 6
Yeah, 1 in
people
6, right?
actually get a grad role.
And then if you intern, after that, your base salary will probably be about like 45, 50K anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if you do retail from what we're doing right now, anybody can go out and get a retail job for 45, 50K right now.
45 sounds great. I started with 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like honestly.
It's decent.
Yeah.
As long as you're not paying rent, then it's fine.
My first grad role was paying about 20K.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
tough. It's
So
tough
that's
out
with
there,
a
right?
Masters as well.
Yeah, it's tough out there. So the amount of, so I just thought about it. So, okay, I'm in third year. It's going to take me about 4 years before I get a decent amount of salary, right? But the thing that we have to think about is that, okay, if we play it out for 60 years, what are you going to do when your job goes away? At some point, everybody in this room, everybody listens to this, at some point has to deal with this issue, which is you're either going to have to stop working because you get too old and you retire, or something's going to happen to you, you're going to get injured, or, whatever it is, knock on wood, and you're going to have to stop. So if that happens, then what's your backup plan, right? The job's not going to save you, right?
Yeah.
So hypothetically speaking, for the average person that works Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, that backup plan would be their super, right?
Yes, but let's say, for example, you worked 45 years, how much would your super be?
So say about $300,000.
300,000, right? So you're 60 years old, you have $300,000 super.
You can buy a 1-bedroom apartment in Blacktown.
Exactly, right?
I don't think so.
not even now,
I
right?
was being polite.
Think about how much it costs to live, including rent, including all that stuff. You're gonna live another 30 years.
Yeah. So
after
obviously
that.
you need that income, that continuous income.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was this issue here, and I was like, at some point you got to deal with this.
That's really good. You realize this at the age of what, 20?
Yeah, about 19, 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought about that, and it's like, okay, well, I can either do another 2 years, get this degree, I'm probably not going to use it anyway, or if I do use it, then it's going to take me 4 years before I start making something. Or I can invest the time that I have right now and really focus on learning some life skills that when something does happen, if the economy turns, then I'll be in a position a lot better than, I guess, where other people are, that I can start from scratch, or I can build something, or I can create something from nothing.
Yes.
And I think when you have that knowingness, you're not worried about, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get laid off, or worry about corporate politics and stuff like that. You know how it is. Like,
Yeah, look, it's very different, and I can relate a lot with what you're saying, because you were in a very similar position to me, whereas the difference was I finished my degree.
Yeah.
Went into self-employment at 19.
Yeah.
But still had the degree as like a backup plan,
like
or
backup,
an insurance
yeah.
policy, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's a very Turkish thing. I don't know whether
No,
it
it's
comes to your culture,
100%,
like,
100% agree with you.
You
Yeah.
do your own thing. You be your own boss, but do your degree just in case.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I did my degree and I studied about management, and I got into the field, and I feel like it's so I could have just gone straight into doing about management and learnt a lot more on the job.
Yeah.
I just feel like it wasn't as beneficial as it could have been.
Do you think you needed your degree to get that first role though?
Well, yeah, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
The only thing is
So-
that you needed it. Obviously, they ask for it in a job application, but I feel like I could have.
The practicality is, practicality does make sense, right? Yeah.
Like I couldn't apply.
Yeah.
I honestly don't even remember half my degree. Like, the only stuff I remember is because it was a part of the business school, so I remember doing like marketing, and there was one subject that one of my electives that I really enjoyed, but that's pretty much it. Like, otherwise I'm like, oh, what did I even do at uni for 3 years?
I think it's the soft skills you pick up in degree. Like, let's not slander
not discounting it.
degrees.
Yeah.
No, of
not
course, I
discounting
don't
it,
mean to say uni is not important. I just meant for my particular
situation.
I felt like
But in event management, sorry to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
But meeting deadlines through assignments.
Yes, of course, there are.
Working in group assignments,
Of
so
course.
learning delegation for that managerial role that you'll be getting, so
Perhaps.
reporting to your professor.
I can't say I entirely agree. I'm sort of on
But
the
if you don't
fence.
get that experience at uni, where are you going to
Where
get
are
it?
you
in the
gonna get it?
workforce.
Yeah, but how are you going to get into the workforce without a degree?
This is the catch-22
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
happens,
I mean,
right?
look, yes, that's true, but at the same time, I mean, without getting into my life, because we're here to talk about James, but you know, I went from a retail store job, you know, throughout high school, straight into corporate financial banking.
I think that's so good,
Yeah.
like working in retail at a young age.
Yeah,
It's really good.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
you know,
Really
it
Throws
does.
you in the deep end.
It
it's
really
sink or
does
swim.
because you know I went into a financial institution. I went into a bank, and you know, I was 17, and they said, you know, what sort of experience do you have? And I said, I've got no banking experience. And they said, that's fine. What did you do? I said, I worked in a pet shop when I was in high school. And
Yeah.
they said, okay, sell me a fish.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then
So
sort of-
sales.
Sales.
Yeah.
And
it's
they,
such a skill that I think
Yeah.
will always be needed.
Definitely.
Always was needed and always will.
So going back to what Meda said in terms of, did I really need a degree? You know, there are things that maybe I could have picked up. Well, perhaps, you know, if your potential employer wasn't looking at it, they were looking a bit out of the box. But they said, look, she's got 3-4 years retail experience through high school, so she's learned how to meet deadlines, how to get to places on time, how to do things with, you know, responsibility. Then perhaps, you know, we'll take her on as a, you know, very
An intern or
Intern,
I
yeah.
don't
Something
know,
very,
on
very
probation.
junior.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could have eventually made your way into what it is that you were
That's
originally
what I
talking
mean.
about.
And I don't mean to discount uni degrees in any way, shape, or form. But I just feel like for me, it could have been the experience wasn't like I'm not sitting there learning about an
Life.
incredible philosophy or like there was some parts. Obviously, we're not about like where leisure came from and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But it wasn't. You know.
I really
Yeah.
understand, and
Do you know-
it
yeah.
resonates with me because I did a professional accounting degree, so I can sort of relate here
Yeah,
James, as well, right? And of my professional accounting degree, to become a registered, say, an accountant, so what we would deem to be a CA, a chartered accountant, or a CPA, there are only 4 units in the entire degree that you need to complete with satisfactory.
Sorry, what does units mean?
Marks.
Like
So
subjects?
subjects.
Okay.
Yeah, so 4 subjects you need to complete that will allow you to then go on and become registered as an accountant. The rest of it is like a lead up. So for example,
Yeah.
you mentioned accounting 1B.
Yeah.
Accounting 1A and 1B, they're things you can learn outside of university.
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
it goes back down to the fundamentals of a spreadsheet, you know, a balance sheet,
Cash flow statement.
cash flow
you know,
statement, profit
income
and loss,
statement,
that sort of
yeah.
thing. Things that you can learn potentially in business studies in school, or if you went to TAFE and you did a 3-month course.
Should have learnt it on YouTube.
Oh man, don't even get me started. Like, I could do so. I reckon I could perform surgery.
Yeah,
Just
dude,
learn
YouTube is
from
the best,
YouTube.
man.
Yeah.
That's the issue, because back then, like this is we're going back 10 years ago, the degree had more weight because we're coming off a generation that was in a corporate mindset that you needed that experience,
Yes.
and the more experience you had, the better you were. But nowadays, with the emergence of the internet and YouTube and how everything's going, you can learn stuff on the internet. You don't need to go through the 4 years. If you go through the 4 years, by the time you get out, the information that you learn, if you spent that same time learning other places, you could learn it faster. You know?
Exactly. I mean, I even hear it on the radio these days, where you know they talk about bespoke courses, where you pick your units and you know you want to do 4 subjects, do 4 subjects,
Yeah.
get some sort of certificate, like a graduate certificate out of it, and move on, because it's those 4 subjects that you require
Yeah.
that you think are essential, and the rest are just filler units.
Definitely, yeah.
That was more what I was getting at when I said I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just felt like a lot of it was.
Just filler stuff, right?
Yeah, basically.
There's a lot of cereal
Yeah.
in there amongst the
Yeah.
fruit and
Exactly.
whatnot.
I think,
And
like, at
I like
the
that
age of
metaphor.
17, it's a lot of pressure to put on a 17-year-old to say, this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure in that degree that you both did, there were courses that, yes, it may not be accounting per se, but there are other courses, other 4 units, let's say, that that you could use to be something else, like a.
I did psychology.
I did psychology too.
Yeah, so if you want to be a psychologist, you would
Yeah.
need those
Of
as
course.
prerequisites.
I found my degree to be boring, so I'm like, we just do something different.
Yeah.
I don't know, okay, look, I'll just go off my experience.
Let's do that.
Ahmed had the best uni experience ever, guys.
No.
Sad uni parties.
Civil engineering, it's an umbrella of structural engineering,
Yeah.
water engineering,
Hydraulic.
geotechnical engineering. So we're taught all of that, but then you specialize in your last year. So you get exposed
Yeah.
to all of them. You also happen to be growing in this time, so you're not a 17-year-old anymore
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the time you get to your final year. So you have a more educated outlook
Definitely.
on what you want
Yeah.
and what you don't want.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, focusing back on James, you realized what you don't want.
Yeah.
And
Definitely, yeah.
what was it that you wanted that sort of pushed you in the trajectory
To
that
the
led
different
you
direction?
to where you are today?
Yeah, like a big thing was, I wanted to. Obviously, the economy is kind of it's okay now, but anything can happen. With the GFC that happened in
It's a very interesting time
2008.
that we were
yeah.
studying.
Yeah, 2008. That's when
like,
when it was really
How
happening.
doom and gloom was it for us?
It was pretty doom and gloom. So like
Right.
I was really thinking about, how's this going to affect Australia? How's this going to affect my parents? How's it going to affect my family?
Because it was one of those things that we just didn't expect.
Yeah.
Oh.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
The way I knew.
Everyone says that.
No. And the only reason I can say
Of course you
I
did.
knew. No, let's go back. First lecture, macroeconomics. Walk into
Yeah.
the lecture, 2008.
Yeah.
So the GFC was towards the end of 2008.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Lecturer walks in. He's like, guys, the economy is doomed.
Okay, thanks.
And we walk in, we're like, oh, he's like one of those buzz lecturers
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
get
yeah.
us all in. He said, mark my words, by the end of this year, there is going to be a catastrophe in the economic markets. And at that point, we were like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
He probably says this, he's been saying this for the last 15 years. Lo and behold, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I had to leave the hemisphere to get a grad role.
Mm.
It just sounds more
Yeah,
like
look,
that way.
I think
Yeah,
different,
right.
different industries have their own knack where, there's
Yeah.
a way to get in and a way to get
Yeah.
out and whatnot. But I want to hear your take on it. So,
Yeah.
university,
Mm.
culled it at the 3-year marker.
Yeah, at the start of the first semester, third year. Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you're going into something very specific, like if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or like an engineer, it's very important to get the degree.
Yes.
You can't just walk into that type of
course.
thing.
Definitely agree on
But 80 to 90% of people that are in uni, because I know all my friends, they were there because they're just there. They don't know what they want to
that. It
do.
was the transition period after high school. I suppose.
Yeah, this is what the next step was.
Yeah.
There wasn't any forethought as to this is what I'll become, this is where I go. And if they did have some kind of forethought, it was just some generic thing like, I want to be an accountant or whatever. But something that was kind of just told to them that that's what you should do. They didn't really think about where they wanted to go. And that was the issue that I had because I didn't want to be an accountant or like a lawyer or a doctor or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what do I want to do? Right.
So what did you do?
I left. That's what I left.
But what did you do when you left?
I just stuck it out with
Continued in
sales.
sales?
Yeah, I stuck it out with
Yeah.
sales, and then that's when I got to my 4th month where I was like, well, I really need to change something because I'm not making any money, and if I leave uni and I'm not making money, that's not good, right? Which led on to like the personal development stuff, and the personal development stuff, I started to find that there's a lot of motivations that individually we have, and there's a lot of pre-programming and past habits that we have that influence our decisions and the actions that we do, right?
Yeah.
And they affect our results. So for example, like at the time during my door-to-door experience, I realized later on when I look back at it, I was in a mindset of, well, I'm only doing this to learn communication, and that's what I created. I didn't make any money because I was only there to learn communication. So I wasn't
so you
there.
were getting paid. Not with
Not with dollars,
conventional-
but I was living what I believed,
Yeah.
right? I wasn't believing that I'm here to make money or make sales. I was here, that this is what I'm learning, and that's what I created for myself.
Did you have that mindset when it happened? Or were you
No.
a bit of dismay?
It took me about a couple months after that to figure out and go back and be like, hey, why am I getting this result? Like, maybe there's something else here, and that was part of the journey that got me to shift out of that,
Okay, so the door-to-door sales wasn't going as planned.
Yeah.
What happened next?
So from there it was all about building up myself. Obviously, after realizing that there's a lot of these patterns here, I looked at where did these patterns actually come from, and then a lot of it came from our upbringing. You know, the things that your parents tell you, you know, your social life, growing up, the friends that you hang around. So all these influences, they actually impact how you think, and over time, you actually develop habits of thinking around that, which then automatically become your behaviors.
Yeah, like a mental flow chart, right?
Yeah.
Put the inputs in, and then
Yeah,
based
once it's
on
there.
your experiences and what you think is the societal norm and what you think things should be and whatnot, and then you get an output, right?
Yeah. And once it's
what
set,
those inputs are.
becomes your output basically.
Yeah.
So once it's set, and most people don't really ever go back to reanalyze that.
And traveling is a great way to.
It is a very
reanalyze
great.
that.
The reason why the traveling is good is because it actually breaks up what's called neural pathways in the brain. So neural pathways are kind of like these. If you think a thought over and over and over again, like if you play a sport, like in basketball, the act of shooting the ball and running that in your mind, you actually create these connections in your brain that get really strong.
It's like it becomes like a freeway express
Yes,
road on how to do something, like a methodology.
That's so cool.
They call it muscle memory, right? But it's actually not muscle memory. It's actually memory in the brain, right? So that thought process does the same thing. So if you think a certain thought, then that thought eventually becomes a belief, and that belief then turns into actions, right?
And just to sort of digress on these neural pathways, once you develop them, are they hard to break?
Yes.
Because humans and change,
absolutely,
right? We don't like change. It's just a general thing I've come across my entire professional life. We don't like change. And it's because these neural pathways have been developed, and we're like,
Absolutely.
why go the scenic route when we've
you
got
can
the
go there.
express road there?
Yeah, it's because it sets up a biochemical addiction in your body actually to go down that path.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Once you think about something a lot, you do the same thing, you kind of have this addiction to do that. And that's why it's hard to break out of that, you know? So your body gets wired that way. But it doesn't mean you can't change that. It takes a lot of effort to change that. So the analogy I like using is like, if you went to the gym every single day of your life and you worked out only your left arm, it would be really strong, right? And then if you had to try and shift it to your right arm, you would have to put in the same amount of time to be able to do that.
Yeah.
To break up that habit. So thinking things is kind of the same way. And a lot of these thoughts that get given to us when we're growing up, they go along that same pattern of, building a habit within your brain. So, going back and changing that is a pretty big thing if you want to make some changes.
So are you alluding that you got into this space, this motivational space?
Yeah, that's where a lot of the stuff I went to started to realize a lot of these patterns that were there.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, some of these aren't really helping me, so I need to change some of them.
And James, what is it that you do right now?
Right now? So right now I'm in the process of building a social media presence. As you guys know, follow my Instagram and stuff.
So what's your Instagram name?
So it's at James_A_TW.
I'm going to share it on our story on the radio's page now.
Oh, okay, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Get following.
So actually I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. Not on YouTube yet. We'll kind of starting to build that up a bit. But yeah, so like building kind of like an online presence, an online brand.
So I actually, when Azra told us about you, I went on your Instagram page.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting. So, for example, yesterday you shared a live video of you, enjoying the beautiful day, and if it's still up there, I encourage everyone to go and check it out. It's really inspiring. I won't share it here. Just go and see for yourself. But you do this thing called thrifting.
Yes.
I want to hear about that, but I think we need to go on our next break, Yasin.
We do.
Okay.
Yep.
One caveat. We'd like a song recommendation.
Okay.
A request.
Maybe can we just go and have the ad, because we're running out of time today.
We can get our sponsors to have their weekly plug.
We'll have our ad break, guys. It'll take about 4 minutes. Is that right, Yasin?
About that, I think.
Yeah, about 4 minutes, and then we'll talk about what thrifting is.
Okay.
Nice.